Hello, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to our One Harp World webinar. I appreciate you all taking some time to join us today. My name is Angela Schwarzkopf. I am the president of the American Harp Society. And briefly, I'll introduce who else has been joining us today for this presentation. But I wanted to just take a quick moment. Thank you all so much for being here. And just to let you know, I'm going to share with you more information about the event. I'm going to talk through volunteer opportunities for people who wish to get involved. And then at the end, we're going to have lots of time for questions. So if you have questions, hold on to them, please save them. And at the end of the presentation, we will be able to look at the chat and make sure that we answer those. So as I mentioned, my name is Angela Schwarzkopf. I am the current president of the American Harp Society. Joining us also today will be Lynn Aspinus, who is the American Harp Society National Events Group Coordinator. We also have with us Kathy McManus, who is the American Harp Society Executive Director. And from the World Harp Congress, we have Kathy Kinzel here, who is the chairman of the board. And I'm going to turn it over to Kathy, who would like to introduce Isabel Perrin to all of you.
Thank you, Angela. So Isabel Perrin is our artistic director, the artistic director of the World Harp Congress. She works with Karen Vaughn, who is her assistant director, and they plan all the programming for World Harp Congresses. They will be working with Lynn Asmus from the Harp Society so that they will combine their ideas. So most of you know Isabel Perrin from all of her famous performances and recordings, but I thought I'd give you just a little bit of her bio. She, of course, has played as a soloist all over the world with orchestras and as a soloist by herself. She has numerous CDs, including a CD of music by Bernard Andres, who also wrote a piece just for her. And for many, many years, she taught in universities in France. She's now teaching in Oslo, Norway. And she has taught master classes all over the world. In fact, last summer she was in China, but people know about her all over the world because she is such a great teacher, so well known. So I would like to just turn it over to Isabel at this point and let her tell you a little bit about World Harp Congresses and this event.
I don't know if anyone sees me or hears me. I think
we can hear you. I can hear you, Isabel, but I don't see you.
There is no video because it just was working before, so I could see myself. So let me see. Video settings.
Well,
okay. Oh, wait. I think
you could.
No. I'm going to the video settings, and I could see myself before. Okay, maybe.
I think you should probably just.
No, that's
there
fine.
You are.
Because something had changed. So here I am, I think. Good. So sorry for this little thing, and hello to everyone. Right now, even though, as Kathy mentioned, I'm teaching and living in Norway, in Oslo, because I'm married also to Norwegian. But right now, I'm in my apartment in Paris, where I just arrived this afternoon. So, but to discuss a little bit about the World Harp Congress, well, actually, I'm a former student of Susan MacDonald, who was one of the founder members of the World Harp Congress. So I have heard about the World Harp Congress all my life almost. But it's only in 1996 that I started to join the World Harp Congress. And ever since, I've been addicted to it. It's just an amazing place. It's an amazing place, and just like Suzanne always told us, it's the place where you make friends for life. And you learn so much, you share so much, you experience so much. And so I just encourage any of you just to come, and not only you, but get people around you to come. And then not only that, but because I think we are doing this to get as many people as possible to volunteer, and we need volunteers. And as I say, we are a small world, even though there are so many harpists now around the world, and we need so much each other. We need to support each other. We need to help each other. So, like for me, Norway is a very small country. There are very few harpists here, but every time there is someone coming to Norway to play, and I'm get a ring, and could we get a harp? Could we get this or that? And I always do everything I can to help harpists, because without each other, we are almost nothing. So, yes, we need you. And I hope that a lot of you will sign up for all those exciting, I don't know, experiences you will get through different projects and different ways of helping out. So, and never think you cannot do anything, because we all can help. We all can do things one way or another way. So, World Harp Congress, American Society. I've also been to a few American Harp Society conferences, and I was in the Tacoma one where the two were joined for the first time. So I just can say it's just one of the best things I experienced. So we hope to see many, many of you there. And just to finish, I'm so happy to be working with Lynn Aspness, which is a very dear friend for a long time. So, Cassie, is there anything else you would like me to say?
No, that was good, Isabel. Thank you so much. It was great. Just what we
Thank
needed. And you can stay if you want, but you don't have to.
I'll stay a little bit, yes.
Great. And I think we will turn it back to Angela now.
All right. Thank you so much, Kathy and Isabel, for that introduction. I'm going to go back to our slideshow now, where I can share with you a bit more about this particular event and how it became here to begin with. We're calling our combined event One Harp World. And this will be taking place in Toronto, Ontario, in Canada, at downtown Toronto at the Sheridan Centre and in the surrounding areas of that venue. And it will have all of the special programming that is unique to both the American Harp Society and the World Harp Congress, and of course will include an extensive vendor exhibit hall and all the social and networking opportunities you could get at either event. So just a little bit about each organization in case you are unfamiliar, if you're a member of one and not the other. The American Harp Society holds a national conference biannually, alternating with their Summer Institute and national competition. And our national events strive to provide programming that is focused with engaging with the Society's mission, which is celebrating our legacy, inspiring excellence, and empowering the next generation of harpists. The World Harp Congress is held every 3 years, and it seeks to promote the exchange of ideas, stimulate contact, encourage new compositions for the harp. It has concerts, workshops, seminars, and exhibits concerning all aspects of harp musicology, and performances are offered throughout this event. And that is very similar to an American Harp Society event, where we also have workshops, concerts. There's lots of similarities between our different events. This experience of joining together has been a long time coming. The American Harp Society and World Harp Congress first collaborated in 1996. You heard Isabel just mention this briefly. This was held in Tacoma, and it was different than what we're going to be experiencing in 2026. This was an event that was sequential, meaning that there was the American Harp Society and then the World Harp Congress event. And I believe they overlapped, if I'm remembering correctly, by 1 day. I was unfortunately not at this event, but they came one after the other and just kind of overlapped briefly. That'll be very different from what we're doing now, which will be a combined event where both the American Harp Society and the World Harp Congress will have 1 week of shared programming throughout it. the World Harp Congress last came to North America in 2011. And the American Harp Society first discussed having a national event in Canada in the early 2000s. So there's been a lot of interest in the World Harp Congress coming back to North America in their rotation throughout the world, and from the American Harp Society of coming to Canada and having an experience here. So just so you guys understand, none of the thing moves very quickly in these organizations. These conversations started back in 2021. In 2022, the World Harp Congress Board of Directors approved pursuing this idea. In 2023, the American Harp Society Board of Directors approved pursuing this idea, which has led us now to having this wonderful combined collaborative event that we're looking forward to hosting. All right, so just to give you an idea, there were key stakeholders in both organizations who were involved in these early discussions. We have them listed here so you have an idea of just sort of the team that was there, in addition to the full boards of both organizations. And so 2021 onward, people started talking about this, and here we are today with One Harp World as the outcome of those various conversations over the last couple of years. All right, so we have a few goals for coming together for this event. We want to be creating a shared learning experience for harpists, both from the American Harp Society and the World Harp Congress, to promote learning and collaborating with colleagues across the globe, really expanding our connections through as many people as possible, and really getting that experience together in North America. It will be a rewarding experience for our various diverse harp makers to be able to come together for one event servicing two different organizations. And we want to be honoring the commitment of the World Harp Congress to hold their next Congress in North America, and to finally be able to realize the determining interest of the AHS to embrace their membership in Canada by placing a national event north of their border. So we're really excited about this One Harp World and how it's come together. So that brings me to how all of you on this call can be involved. And I know that we have shared this presentation today with the membership from both organizations. So there's people probably from potentially all over the world who are joining us and are interested in this event. Any one of you can be involved if you would like to be. There are so many ways to contribute. The American Harp Society and the World Harp Congress are both powered by volunteers in so many of their roles and positions. Their officers, board members, committee chairs, just to name a few, are all volunteers. I myself, Lynn, Kathy Kinsel, we're all volunteers. We are all volunteering our time. That's one of the beautiful things about these harp organizations, is the dedication and enthusiasm of our volunteers. So for 2026, we are really lucky. We will be working with some professional event conference management planners, both in Toronto at the hotel and through the American Harp Society, who will be able to help our volunteers and to help create the most successful, wonderful event possible. So volunteering can take many different shapes, and we're going to talk through a few of them today, but just know that there are a lot of different ways that you can be a part of this. You may come away and think about it, but we're just going to give you a quick snapshot today of what that would look like if you want to get involved, and just know that there'll be lots of time over the coming months to figure out how you might want to be a part of this. So we'll need people who want to be part of the planning process, and that starts, soon in the next coming months. There will be opportunities for people who want to be a part of the planning process ahead of time, and then there'll be lots of opportunity for people who want to just help out at the event. And if you are a part of the planning process ahead of time, it doesn't matter where in the world you are. You can be a part of these planning processes via Zoom. There's no issues with that. Obviously, hands-on event help means you will be there, so that should not be a problem. So we're going to go through a little bit more detail, the different areas that you can potentially volunteer in now. So the first area we're going to talk about is hospitality. So whenever we host an event, we have a group of people who help with hospitality, and their goal is to help make the attendees of the event feel welcomed, informed, and celebrated before the event even begins through the whole event right to the end. So what that looks like is you could be preparing welcome materials for the attendees. You could be helping coordinate artist presentations. You could be helping schedule other volunteers who are helping out throughout the venue. At the event itself, you would greet people potentially at the hotel, help answer questions, provide directions. We need people to help with ushering concerts, monitoring doors for workshops and classes, handing out flowers, presenting flowers at the ends of performances, just generally making everyone feel at ease and a part of the community. So we also we'll need volunteers to help us with the registration and information tables. This will be mostly taking place during the event. You will be helping provide information about what's going on, the location we're at, additional venues, the area around us in Toronto, the subway, the TTC. If you're not from Toronto, that's the Toronto Transit Commission. That's not just in our subway system, but includes the buses, the streetcars, all of that. Queen's Park, which is the area just north of where our hotel is located, and other areas of Toronto. So these volunteers should have a really detailed understanding of Toronto. In this case, it might help if you've lived in Toronto or have visited it very often. And you get to work really closely with the conference organizer and events planners. And this is great for someone who really is from the city, who maybe does want to show off their pride of the city, can name that really best restaurant to get to. This is going to be wonderful. And this is a really great flexible volunteer position where you can do it for one day. You could do it for multiple days. It's pretty flexible, which is really nice. All right, so we also have opportunities to volunteer with the vendors and in the exhibit hall, which can be really exciting. No heavy lifting is required. I feel this is very important to say right off the bat, because I know we can say, oh, helping with people loading in, we think, oh my gosh, I'm loading in 50 harps. You don't necessarily have to do that. But you would be helping welcome exhibitors. You would help with maybe watching people's vehicles while they are coming, loading things in and out, pointing people in the right direction, supporting the exhibitors while they take break, maybe watching their booth, and helping out with our One Harp World artist sales table, which will be a pretty fun place to be. So this volunteer work, would be done right before the event, during, and immediately after the event. So if you're planning to make a special trip to Toronto for this and you do want to volunteer, you can easily do it during, a little bit before, a little bit after. All right. Production assistance volunteers. These would be people who would be interested in assisting presenters by working on stage setup before the event, checking that equipment lists and items are in place. You might help with some tuning and being a resource for the presenters during the event. So this is really a fun one if you want to get connected with some of the performers or some of the presenters. You get to know them, you get to chat with them, you get to help them with their needs. And again, this volunteer work is done just at the event, so it's really easy for anyone who's already attending the event. The harp pen is one of the most cool and exciting things that I think happens at these national events. There will be a designated space where all the harps that are being used for the event will be housed. And quite possibly in this particular event, we're going to have maybe multiple rooms of harps because we're going to need so many. So there will be some very experienced harp pen chairs who will be at the event, who have lots of experience running this space in the past. But what we will need is volunteers to assist those harp pen chairs who will help with receiving the harps as they arrive at the venue, moving the harps and concert equipment for the artists during the event. Another great way to connect with our artist. Participating with checking the inventory at the beginning and end of day, making sure all the harps are back where they should be, and watching the harp pen when our chairs do need a break. So this volunteer work, again, is done right before, during, and immediately after. If you're familiar with Excel, Google Sheets, that sort of thing, that's awesome. Again, volunteers can come for a single day, multiple days. And this is a really great way too, also, if family members want to get involved and volunteer as well. If they have some harp experience, harp moving experience, this is a really great place for them to be. It's a generally pretty fun space. I have gravitated to the harp pen many times at these national events. So we talked just with the harp pen about moving the harps within the facility, but we will also be having events that will take place outside of the Sheridan Center. And we will be needing to move harps to those places. So we will also need a team of volunteers who are comfortable with moving harps to other venues. And the volunteer work, once again, at the event, easy to do, one day, one harp move, or multiple days, kind of up to you. So I'm going to speak just a little bit about the programming. So we have the World Harp Congress Artistic Director, Isabel Pren, the Associate Artistic Director, Karen Vaughn, and our AHS National Events Group Coordinator, Lynn Asmus, who will be coordinating the programming and the day-to-day schedule for One Harp World. Both of the two organizations have committees in place who help with recommending programming to the One Harp World Programming Committee. There will be a call for proposals for those who are interested in presenting at the One Harp World event. Just like any other AHS or WHC event, there will be a call for proposals. We're anticipating that call for proposals will be open in late 2024 or early 2025. So we want you all to kind of keep your eyes open for that announcement coming, because we will want you all to apply if you have an idea, if you want to share, especially Canadian content. We'll be looking forward to having people apply. It'll be really important for us to have that really highlighting that unique Canadian aspect at the event. So keep your eyes open for that. And since we're talking about Canadian programming, we're going to be shining a spotlight at this event on Canadian composers and performers. And so we're going to need some volunteers who would be willing to program with the partner with the programming committee, that's what I wanted to say, to consult specifically on Canadian programming. So this is an example of volunteer work that would be done in advance of the event and probably starting in the coming months, who would be there to consult on any questions we have about repertoire or help make recommendations of repertoire. So keep that in mind if Canadian music is a passion of yours. All right. This brings us to the New Music Committee, and for this and the next slide, I'm going to invite Kathy Kinzel back to speak more to them, because they are more World Harp Congress specific committees.
So as it says, the World Harp Congress New Music Committee helps to encourage and facilitate performances of new music at World Harp Congress events. And we will need a local volunteer, at least one local volunteer, to particularly encourage proposals from Canadian composers and performers. And we may also need someone to help the New Music Committee review proposals. That actually will be up to the chair of the New Music Committee, That is Ernestine Stoop, who is the chair, and she's from the Netherlands. So this is something that if you're particularly interested in new music, doesn't have to be Canadian. It can be other new music. If you want to, encourage people to make proposals, that would be great. And now the next slide is about Focus on Youth. And I would just like to give you a little bit of background about Focus on Youth, because it is really part of how the World Harp Congress got started. So many years ago, before the World Harp Congress, there was a quite famous harpist, Fia Berghout, in the Netherlands. She played with the Concertgebouw and had many, many pieces written for her. She premiered many pieces, and she started a workshop that was called the Harp Weeks. And the Harp Weeks were workshops where young people from all over the world could apply and go to perform. And we all played maybe 15 to 20 minutes of music, and there were famous, famous harp teachers from all over the world there who, after the performance, would give us oral feedback on our playing. So from that, Fia eventually decided she needed to retire from the Harp Weeks. And she said, what should happen is we should start an organization for the entire harp world. And that's when the World Harp Congress first was formed. So as a result of the Harp Weeks, we decided that at every World Harp Congress, we should have a series of concerts for youth called Focus on Youth. So these performances happen every day at the Congress, and there are usually 5 or 6 young performers selected who play 15 to 20 minutes of music. They receive written comments from well-known and experienced harp teachers, as well as verbal advice. Although I have to say, it's kind of funny, back in the days of the Harp Weeks, they would give us advice in front of everyone, which was sometimes a little embarrassing. We don't do that. We will give verbal advice personally, one-to-one, after the performance. So in terms of volunteering, we need at least one local representative to help select participants in Focus on Youth. And what that means is listening to recordings that they send in. You would be working with the Focus on Youth committee and be helping them listen to recordings. And there are many, many recordings, hundreds of recordings. And of course, we can't listen to hundreds of young people. So that has to be winnowed down. And then, of course, the programming needs help too. So if you are particularly interested in encouraging young people, that's the other thing that could be done. You could do is, if you know a young harpist or you have students who should perform in this event, you can encourage them to apply to play on Focus on Youth. And so we hope some of you would be interested in helping out with this. So I will now turn this back to Angela for the next slide.
Thanks, Kathy. So as you can imagine, this event is going to need a lot of harps. So both organizations rely on the generosity of local regional harpists to loan their instruments to the event to be used by the artists that are involved. We're going to need a significant number of both concert instruments, but also practice harps in all sizes, models, and styles. And fun fact, if your harp is going to be used for concerts, it will receive a regulation at the event. So it's kind of a win-win. We're going to be needing some volunteers to help with finding and securing harps for us to use during the event. This work will be done ahead of time. It'll be done in 2025, because we'll really need to kind of make sure that we've got enough harps sourced and available I know my harps will be going. I hope that a lot of you will be willing to share your harps as well or help with us in finding harps that can be used for this event. And this brings us to our last area for possible volunteering, which is helping with local fundraising. So both organizations look to support from in-kind donations, such as people donating their instruments, industry sponsorship, but also grant writing in order to make these events come alive and to help keep us on budget. As you can imagine, these events are quite complicated and have a lot of subtleties to them that need to be funded and worked out. So if you are able to assist with grant writing expertise, we're looking for someone who can help with connecting Canadian harpists, who can assist with researching and preparing grants that can help specifically support Canadian composers and Canadian harpists at the event. That would be greatly helpful for us. This volunteer work would all be done ahead of time, well in advance of the event, as grant funding cycles are done quite ahead of time. So this can really start as soon as possible if anyone is interested in helping us with this area of volunteering. So I hope you'll join us. This is going to be a once in a lifetime experience. It's going to be absolutely incredible. And we're so lucky that it's going to be in Canada, in Toronto. If you are interested in volunteering or you want to just get in touch with us, give us some like your information, give us your areas of interest, there is a form here. We're going to put it in the chat as soon as well. And after this presentation is done in the next week, we're going to send out these slides along with the link again to this form. So if you miss it right now and you want to access it later, you will be given that chance. Do not fear, it will be coming. And you can check out the form, and it's very simple. You can just pop in your name, your contact information, and any areas that you're interested in. Or if there's not a specific one or you're unsure what you want to check, you can just add some comments at the bottom, and we'll get in touch with you and make sure that we find your passion area and where you would like to be involved for the event. And if you have any specific questions, we're going to have you direct them to Lynn Asmanis, who is our National Events Group Coordinator for the American Harp Society, and she would be happy to talk with you. And don't forget that you can connect with us on social media at Harp Society or at World Harp Congress. And if you're getting excited and you want to start hashtagging One Harp World, please go for it. We are so excited for this event. So that completes my slideshow presentation. And we are now open to having questions. And I'm going to welcome back Kathy. And now Lynn is here as well to join us and answer any questions that we have in the chat. So I know early on someone mentioned something about performer decisions, and I hope you were able to glean from what I was saying that we have not got the programming decisions yet. So that is to be in progress, and we will be announcing that as it comes out.
I could say to that if anyone has ideas of performers, particularly Canadian performers, as in Erica Goodman, they can always send that information to Lynn as well.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
I can answer this question that just came up about lever harps and multi-course harps. I'm not sure what that means, but lever harps for sure. The World Harp Congress always has programs with lever harpists and with harpists from all over the world. One of the photos you probably saw was a trio of kora players, which is a string instrument from Africa. So there's going to be a lot of international type programming that would include, of course, lever harps. And maybe multi-course, maybe they're talking about early harps. And we always have concerts, multi-row harps, yes. Yes, like as in triple harps, etc. In fact, I'm going to blank on his name. In Cardiff, we had a triple harp player perform. So that definitely is going to happen. That's part of the World Harp Congress.
Oh, this is a great question. Yes, you can.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
You could volunteer one day for the harp band. You could volunteer one day at hospitality. You could be involved with planning ahead of time. We welcome you.
Somebody else answer the insurance question? I don't know. Maybe Kathy needs to answer that.
Lynn,
I
do
don't
you
know the answer to that.
off the top of your head?
To the best of my knowledge, for American Harp Society events, the American Harp Society, I don't know what we're doing for this event because we're also in Canada, which will be a little bit different. But we do not carry insurance on the instruments that are donated for use during the conference. The expectation is that the professional or the owner of the instrument has an instrument insurance policy that covers use. I can't say for sure that that's what we'll do in 2026, but I think that's where the Harp Society is now.
And I know we're getting liability insurance, but I'm not sure if that covers the harps or not.
Yeah.
Yes, Kathy says insurance is always the responsibility of the instrument owner.
Yeah.
But it's a great question. It is an
Yeah.
important question for sure. So you do want to, if you are willing to share your harps with our event, which I hope you will be, you'd want to make sure that your personal harp insurance is up to date.
And I can say we have never had an
Oh,
accident
yeah.
at,
We haven't
at World
either.
Harp Congresses.
Knock on wood.
Yeah, you've got experienced harp movers moving the harps all the time.
And
And of course, they're
experienced-
locked. They're locked all the
and
time.
experienced players as well.
Right.
You
Right.
know, people who understand what they're dealing with and the gift it is to have
Right.
somebody else let them use their harp. It's worked well. We're signing Donna up right now to volunteer.
We're putting her in all the categories.
Yeah. Exactly.
Thanks, Donna.
Yes.
Another question has come in.
Can I talk about that for a minute? Jeanette, Kathy Kienzle supplied me with a copy of the materials that the World Harp Congress did in terms of outreach for their 2022 conference in Cardiff, Wales. And I've already been thinking about ways that we can go into the communities in Toronto and work with the music of that culture in some way. So yeah, absolutely. If this is an area of interest for you specifically, it would be great to explore it because right now I think the idea is unformed for sure. But I think it makes really good sense. You're going to have harpists from all over the world and every possible cultural background. And so getting them into these communities and working would be great if we can.
Absolutely. And feel free to connect directly with Lynn or use that form that we have shared with you and just put that in the comment section at the bottom so that we know we can be in touch with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great question. And Toronto is it's just such a culturally diverse city. That's one reason why we wanted to be there.
The same thing happened in Hong Kong at the Congress in Hong Kong. They took some of the groups out, the harp ensembles out into the community and played various places.
Mm-hmm.
It's a wonderful idea.
Wonderful. So yes, please just get in touch with Lynn or use the form and just express your interest that way, and we will reach out to you.
Angela, you put that link in the chat for the attendees. Oh, there, great. Thank you, Kathy. Last miss at you, Mish.
Yeah, it's in there. Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah, super.
That's great.
Good.
We'll maybe wait a couple more minutes, see if there's any other questions that are coming in. It's a little silent, getting silent. Kathy or Lynn, is there anything that you can think of that maybe we want to add or share before we say goodbye today?
I think, sorry, Lynn, I think Isabel kind of said this a little bit, but it's one thing going to an event like this and making friends and, lifelong friends, as she said, and, getting inspired by performances. But volunteering is just more intense. In other words, you're going to make better friends. You're going to meet more people. And, some World Harp Congresses, I met somebody who I was later traveling to their country, and they invited me out to dinner, or they invited me to a concert, or invited me to stay at their home. It's just quite amazing what connections can mean in experiences like this.
Yeah. No, I was just going to say thank you to everybody who's here today and to everybody who kind of decided to jump on this harebrained idea. So it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be epic, definitely epic.
Thanks everyone for tuning in. This is so great. I appreciate seeing your excitement and for you being here today and sharing this time with us. And we really look forward to connecting with all of you.
Yeah.
So please feel free to reach out in any capacity you can. Thank you for spending some of your Sunday with us, and have a great rest of your day.
Are they off?